Okay, I want to do a quick overview on connecting your cabling to the Datacard 150i. We get some people that are confused because, as you'll see back here, there are actually two different ports. First, what I want to cover is, and hopefully this is in, but you do need what is referred to as a null modem cable, not a standard serial cable. Now, they may look very similar, and they have the same pinning and everything, but a null modem cable has inverted pairing inside. It is not a standard serial cable. It would be considered a serial crossover, which would be null, so meaning that the pairing is reversed. So if you try to use a serial cable and connect to the data card to your computer, it will not work. It will not connect. Alright, so the port that you're going to use is the top port here, and the label for them, if you look, there's a label under these, and it's called the host port. So it's the top port or the host port, and you'll notice on your cable, on your null modem, it'll be, maybe I'm not there, it'll be this connector, and then you can just slide that on. Okay, now this end will be what goes to your serial port on the computer. And if you don't have a built-in serial port, and do not confuse, some computers have a VGA port that looks a little bit like this. That would be for an external monitor. Computers manufactured in the last 7 years usually do not have a serial port, and you will either need to get an older model computer, like some of the Dell Latitudes and some of the ThinkPads IBM had and stuff. But if not, you can get a USB to serial adapter, plug that into your USB port, and then it will have a serial port that can connect into this null port. So we are going to use a serial port on the computer, and then we're going to use the null cable to plug into the serial port, whether it's built into your computer or whether you're using the USB to serial adapter. So two things. Use the disk to install the drivers. And if you want one that's most likely going to be plug-and-play universal on Windows, we suggest the TrendNet TUS9. And it comes with a disk in case you do have any issues with the drivers. But this one, normally you plug it in and within a minute or two, it's up and running and runs flawlessly. All right, so with that said, here is the TrendNet TUS9 out of the package. So your computer won't have a serial port most of the time, especially if it's more recent than the last 5 or 6, 7 years. And so you'll just plug that into your USB, and that will give you your serial adapter end. As I explained previously, you'll need a null modem cable. That null modem cable then just connects right here. It does allow you to even lock that down using little screw pins so that you make sure that you keep a good connection that doesn't become dislodged or disconnected. And you can do the same back here on your data card. You can just screw that in, and then there's no questions about whether or not it might accidentally come loose.
Okay, really quickly, we're going to take a look at the boot up sequence and what needs to happen for you to connect to your data card with the software through the COM port, serial port, null modem cable. So I'm going to actually cycle this off. I'm going to wait it's always a good idea to wait at least 10 or 15 seconds. Don't just immediately turn it on and off. You can blow a fuse or something. We also do recommend that you run a quality surge suppressor at the absolute minimum, and ideally you would use an AVR, which is an active voltage regulator or an automatic voltage regulator, but it does need to be active, not passive. And what that does is that all inbound power goes through its transformer and is output at a steady, constant voltage rate, and that if, let's say, the power is kind of fluctuating a little bit, it goes from 100 volts to 104 to 102 to 108, kind of has a little wave to it, what we might refer to as harmonic distortion. It takes all of that and steps it up and down so that you get a consistent, for instance, 110 volt steady power that is put into your machine, which is important because these have about 8 different motors that are stepper motors. Stepper motors are timing motors, and timing motors rely a specific set of voltage to turn at a specific rate, which is how it knows how far to move for how long. All right, so real quick, the LED is just flashing. It's a standard. Okay, CPX, see that 150i CPX. CPX mode is necessary for DC print to be able to connect. CPX or CPX/DES. But if it is in DES only or any other thing other than CPX or CPX/DES, it will not be able to connect because either it is in the wrong protocol, meaning that our software won't be speaking in the correct language or protocol, or the machine will be in an encrypted mode to where it requires encrypted communications. So we'll have a separate portion where we talk about how you can get your machine into CPX or CPX/DES mode so that you can connect there as well. So let's go through this. You have to have a no modem cable, not a serial cable, that connects to a serial port, which can be built in, or it can be a USB to serial adapter. That serial adapter, if is USB, needs to be installed with the drivers that come on the disk from the manufacturer, or if you want to plug and play one that works almost 100% of the time on every system, we do recommend the TrendNet TU S9. All right.